Well, it's Friday. Like the movie says, I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. That's why I'm gonna get you high today. Because it's Friday, you ain't got no job, you ain't got shit to do. Well, I do have some things to do, of course, and that is give you guys some awesome wrestling content. As you probably know, we're going to be reviewing Stardom as we continue with more of the Cinderella Tournament, continuing with of course, the quarterfinals. However, they do feature one title match, and that is, of course, the future championship. Hanako defends it against Yuria Him. And then we move on with more of New Japan with day 7 of the New Japan Cup, continuing with more of the second round matches. Now, if you guys remember on the last episode, I had to keep it shorter, just focus on the second round matches. But now I can focus on the full blown length of the entirety of the event, and we'll go from there. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates. Give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's start with Stardom as we go with day 4 of the Cinderella Tournament. Okay, day 4 of Stardom's Cinderella Tournament, and of course they made the return to Corkin Hall on the 11th of March. We do have the quarterfinals in case anybody asks, and one championship match, but let's focus on some other matches that they have, of course. Our first one we have is India Sox, Tabitha and Xena, May Sita, Micah, and Starlight Kid teaming up. They take on Kyoko Furuzawa, Anikanaya, Fuwa-chan, Yuna Mizumori, Sayori Anu, and Hanako. Now, of course, interesting enough, I know recently Sayori Anu and Fuwa-chan had been on odds recently during the Cinderella Tournament and so on, so that kind of sets it up. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good match. But it was May Sita that picked up the win thanks to the help and assist of Micah that launched her up to very high and landed right on top of Anikanaya. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So, Micah, May Sita, Starlight Kid, Xena, Tabitha and India Success picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Mi Vida Loca, consisting of Akira Kurigani, Rina Yamashita, and Suzuki, taking on Stars, consistent of Momo Kogo, B. Priestley, and Saya Ida. So nothing too special about this match, any way possible. But it was a pretty good, strong match, one way or the other. But it was in the end, uh, Zuzu with the tequila shot onto who was it? Onto Momo Kogo, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Hate, consisting of Azusa Inaba, Fukigen Death, Natsuko Tora, Raka, and Konami, taking on the members of God's Eye, consisting of Rana Yagami, Tomoka Inaba, Lady C, Saki Kashima, and Ami Sori. Now, obviously, of course, Konami, who still is targeted by God's Eye for betraying Shuri, and not to mention we got the Inaba sisters once again on the opposite side of each other, which of course they have no problem with. But it was a pretty good match. But of course, we always see the usual tactics from Hate, consistent by grabbing their opponents, taking them outside the ring, tossing them to the chairs, and trying to stop them up. But unfortunately, it was in fact Rani Yagami that picked up the win when she applied the Beat Buster onto Fukigen Death. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, God's Eye picked up the win. Now, let's jump into, of course, two of the quarterfinal matches of the Cinderella Tournament. First, we have Maki Ito taking on Hanan. Now, of course, many of us know, for those who may remember, I mentioned 2 years ago Hanan was the winner of the Cinderella Tournament. But the real question is, can she pull it off? Can she step up as a two-time winner, but not back-to-back winner, like, of course, we saw with Mirai and Mayu Itani. But nonetheless, Maki Ito was determined to win, but unfortunately it did not happen her way, because we did see Hanan apply 17, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she advances to the semifinals. Next up, we have Rian versus Aya Sakura. Now, if you guys remember, I mentioned there was something I kind of forgotten that I didn't even notice or recognize. Rian called herself the Kozen Killer because, if you guys remember, on the first round, she defeated Yuna Mizumori, which of course guaranteed her a shot of the high speed belt. And the second one was, of course, Natsupoi. So basically, if she defeats Aya Sakura, that would determine her as the Kozen Killer. But the real question is, can she pull it off? You got to remember, Aya Sakura has a much better intensity training than her. Not to mention, she is a karate expert, and that sets it up right there. We can see she can throw on the kicks, but unfortunately, Rian's wish to become the Kozen Killer did not come true, because she ended up, of course, on the wrong side of the German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Aya Sakura advances into the semifinals. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if she wins it, because she would be the second Cosmic Angel to win, of course, the Cinderella Tournament. Now, we take a break from the tournament, of course, and jump into the future of Stardom Championship. So we have Yuri Him taking on Hanako. Now, Hanako, of course, immediately made a beeline to Yuri Him when they were doing the introductions. It was her way to ensure that she tries to take out Yuri Him as soon as possible. But Yuri Him, who was determined to win. If you guys notice, she had the same kind of outfit that Mina Shirakawa has. And that's something, of course, many of you may not know this. Yuta Him was, in fact, Mina Shirakawa's student. You know, she learned a lot from her. And that sets it up right there. I mean, I have to say Yuta Him really stepped up a little bit of her game, but unfortunately she ended up losing when, of course, she applied the JP coaster onto her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hanako retained the belt. Then we did see a little post-match promo between Hanako and Yuri Him. You know, even Hanako made references to Mina Shirakawa. Many of you don't know this. Hanako actually learned from Mina herself. So I don't know if there's like a bit of a jealousy who was the better student. I don't know. But anyway, however, the real question some of you may ask, will we see another competitor challenge for the future belt? Well, it didn't take long until we saw Rani Agami finally made her play. And of course, Rani Agami got the opportunity. Then she actually decided to give her some karate moves onto her, and showing her that she will be the one to dethrone her. So we'll see if that takes place. Now, we continue with more of the Cinderella Tournament, and this one is a bit of a rematch from last year. If you guys remember, it was Sayaka Kurara who actually won the tournament, but the runner-up was Rina. Many people who at the time thought Rina was going to win, but Rina, as you know, has not forgotten that she lost, and that's exactly what it is. She even tried everything to put her down. Sayaka Kurara even fought through, but unfortunately, it was not enough. Apparently, there was no involvement between with hate to get involved in this match. But of course, Rina did use some of the tactics on her by herself. But Kurara refuses to stay down until, of course, Rina applied the Pink Devil, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, Rina made it clear that she was not going to lose to her, telling her that she was not going to let history repeat itself, because she's telling her that her direction is towards winning the tournament. And she also made it clear that she's not going to wear a dress, that she's just going to take the victory and that's it. She's not going to play that game. But of course, out of nowhere, Sayaka Mitani showed up saying that she said, "I'm willing to give you a title shot, but under the condition that that you have to put something on the line." We don't know what it is that she wants to do, because as you know, Kamitani is not willing to give people second chances. But Kurara is very persistent. I mean, she's been bugging her during her autograph tour, but Kamitani brought this to herself without refusing. Because here's the thing, Kamitani says she's the face. No, you got to defend the title no matter who it is, no matter how many times you beat them. I mean, there's been wrestlers who've done that, but we'll see. Now, our main event is a very interesting one. We have Miyu Amasaki versus Hina. Now, some of you may ask me, why do I find it interesting? If you guys know their history, these two ladies were in fact former members of Queen's Quest together, and that was pretty much it. Remember, Hina was invited by, of course, by Io Sky to join after they separated her and her sisters. Hana went to Stars, and Rina went to the. At the time, it was known as International Cyber Squad, but later renamed to Tokyo Cyber Squad. And as for Yumasaki, well, her debut opponent, of course, was Utame Ishida, who later at the time became leader of Queen's Quest, and that's sort of after Momo, uh, I forgot her name, not Momo Kogo, Momo Iwatani, or I don't know, Watanabe, betrayed them. And of course, Miyu Amasaki was invited, and these two were part of the same team together. And it's interesting to see a bit of a showdown between two former teammates facing off each other. Now, of course, many people would have assumed Hina would definitely win, because she would definitely step up. Because, as you know, Hanan and Rina are in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Hina joins and that put them in a bit of a showdown. I mean, I would have liked to see either two of the sisters face off in something like this. I mean, they fought each other for future belts. That's obviously, but when it comes to that, that's different. But in the end, it was Miyu Amasaki that won by applying the Tenzai, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, they had some things to say. I mean, I'm sure Amasaki has no ill will towards Hina, despite they were teammates of the same faction back in the day. But nonetheless, it was a pretty good event. So that's pretty much how things end. So right now, we are done with Stardom. Let's move on with our last and final review, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, Day 7 of New Japan Cup. Now, of course, as you know, recently I did shorter ones where I just did the second round matches. Instead of you just go throughout the entirety of the event, I just did that just so I can catch up what's going on in that section, of course, of the New Japan Cup. But right now, we're going to do the whole thing, and this happened, of course, just recently at the Osaka something park gymnasium. Anyway, but let's get started. Now we go on to the non New Japan Cup matches. We have the House of Losers, consisting of Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens. They take on Masatora Yasuda and Shota Umino. Now, what's interesting about this match, many of you may or may not remember, as you recently remember, last time, Chase Owens lost to Shota Umino in the New Japan Cup. But however, uh, Shota had a bit of a history with Yujiro Takahashi when he was a kid. If you guys know this, when he was young, Yujiro used to play catch with them, and now that he is like the enemy, that kind of sets it up right there. But of course, Shota Umino was not the one who ended up losing the match. It was in fact Yasuda with the final testament by Chase Owens, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Excuse me. Next up, we have Tetsuya Matsumoto, Satoshi Kojima, and Yujiro Takahashi. They take on TMDK, consistent of Akosa Fujita, Rohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, nothing too special about this. I don't think any of the wrestlers involved could be involved in the next rounds, but it was a pretty good match. Not to mention, Oiwa decided to take his frustrations out on Masatora Yoshida. Tatsuya Matsumoto, of course. He actually put him away when he applied the German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, Fujita decided to teach Matsumoto a lesson. Since you all know, Fujita used to be a young lion, so probably it's his way of saying, you know, better learn, kid, that sort of thing. Next up, we have Toru Yano, Aaron Wolf, and Bolton Oldleg taking on the House of Losers, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Don Fale, and Ren Narita. So I'm going to presume that Ren Narita and Bolton Oldleg are next in the next round of the New Japan Cup. And of course, we know that Bolton Oldleg, as you probably can guess, as you all know, Aaron Wolf had dealt with the House of Torture, especially with Narita taking away the Never Openweight title, that sort of thing. And of course, we were going to see a bit of their usual tactics, but however, that kind of backfired when Kanemaru accidentally gave the whiskey misfired onto Dick Togo. And then, of course, it was Yano that, in fact, applied a roll-up onto Kanemaru, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Now, of course, you know, Ren Narita is looking at Bolton Oldleg, trying to tell him that he's going to win this tournament whether he likes it or not. But of course, we know that Bolton Oldleg had dealt with him. Now, our next match, we have the Unbound, more specifically War Dragon, Drilla Maloney and Shingo Takagi taking on, of course, Tomoaki Hamna and Yuya Uemura. So I'm going to presume that this is another second round match of the New Japan Cup. I'm going to presume that Takagi will be facing against Yuya Uemura. And I'm sure Drilla Maloney has not forgotten, of course, the loss. Now, of course, Hamna is a strong, capable wrestler. But when it comes to Drilla Maloney and Shingo, these guys throw in the powerhouse into powerhouse no matter what. And they were able to apply that when they put on War Dragon onto Hamna, and just like that, by Maloney, 1, 2, 3, War Dragon picked up the win. Now, our next match, well, as you can guess, the war goes on between United Empire and the Unbound. Representing the United Empire, Zane J, Jacob Austin Young, Francisco Akira, Great Khan, and Hinare. They take on the Unbound, Daiki Nagai, Geto, Oscar, Yuto Ice, and Yota Tsuji. So obviously, as you know, that Francisco Akira is aiming for the junior heavyweight competitors. And of course, we've been seeing Zane J saying that he's not a young lion anymore. He is now officially, but he's still a young lion, whether he likes it or not. But of course, all hell broke loose in this matter until, of course, it was who was it? Jacob Austin Young with the bite the dust onto Nagai, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now on to our New Japan Cup second round, Cal Newman versus Hartley Jackson. Of course, this was a much difficult fight. Of course, Newman was going to try to do whatever it takes to win, especially if he has to take his opponents outside the ring to soften them up to ensure they get a brutal beating. But Hartley Jackson tried to put on the hurt, but unfortunately it didn't do any well, thanks to the interference of Zane J. That little scumbag gets involved. And of course, Cal Newman applied the Excalibur, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Cal Newman picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Jake Lee taking on Hiroki Goto. Now, of course, many of you remember that Jake Lee took out Hiroki Goto's tag partner and friend Yoshihashi, and you probably can guess that Jake Lee would do whatever it takes to try to pick up a win. Even Goto refuses to stay down. I mean, he puts the definition of strong style no matter what. Until he applied, of course, GTR 1, 2, 3, he moved on to the next round. So that's all she wrote, folks. So that's pretty good. Now, I don't know when. I'm going to presume that maybe our next event will feature the last of the second rounds. I'm not 100% sure. But if it is, then we're on the right track. So we'll see how things will go. But right now, we're done. Let's move on to, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, we don't have much of the upcoming events or developments, so let's just get started with the upcoming events. We have 2 upcoming events from GCW. As you know, they announced there's going to be a show prior before the Collective in Las Vegas called The Last Call. Now, they recently already announced names that will be participating. This will take place on April 3rd, called The Last Call. We have, of course, they announced Marcus Mathers, One Call Manders, KJ Orso, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, and then finally, returning and representing DDT, Daisuke Sasaki. And then, of course, as you know, they even announced a brand new show in Jopa, Maryland, called Express Lane that will happen on the 1st. Names have now been mentioned who will be participating. We have Joey Janela, Marcus Mathers, Busta, and Brain, which turned out to be Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, and of course, Rock and Roll, Ricky Morton. Now, as you know, more names are being added for the upcoming collaboration between Ring of Honor and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling for the Global Wars Canada that will take place on the 27th of March. They announced Ortiz will be participating in that event. And then finally, as you know, Progress Wrestling will have a show in Las Vegas, and the event's called Progress Las Vegas 2, Chapter 193, that will take place on the 16th. However, they just set up a tournament that will be happening called the Super Strong Style 16, and this is part of the first round, and they just announced Rio versus Vert Vixen. So that's pretty much it for our upcoming events. Now, for our only development that we have here, of course, Fightful Select, more specifically Corey Brennan, revealed that Amale, many of you remember her as the French Hope at the NXT UK. If you're probably wondering where she's been this entire time, if you guys have watched NXT UK, well, she's been wrestling mostly in Europe, and not too long ago she did a tour in Japan, most specifically appearing in Marvelous. Corey Brennan actually reported that she was visiting the Evolve tapings. So it's still unclear whether she will be part of the Evolve. We know that she was part of the NXT UK until they closed down. It was a real bummer, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, if there is a chance she could Evolve, great. If not, if she's just saying hi to people there, that's good. So we'll see how things roll. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's call it a day. Well, thank you for watching this episode. Hope you guys had a great time enjoying these reviews. Coming up, we probably will have AEW Collision. I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm considering maybe the latest Choco Pro event. I need to catch up with Mighty Gold, their just recent event, and some of the other ones. I'll figure that out. I mean, a lot of things have been coming up in my mind. So we'll see how things roll from there. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is. So AEW Collision is the priority. We'll just go from there. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.